So welcome back everyone. Now in this video we're going to talk about Express.js. Now Express.js, what is Express.js? Express.js is Express here. It's a web framework that is used to develop backend applications. It can even be used to develop mobile applications, but mostly it's used to develop backend applications. Now we know that JavaScript runs mainly on the browser. That's why sometimes it could not be used to run on a web server. But with the help of Node, which can help JavaScript to run outside the browser, it means that it was possible to design a framework that could do backend. And that's where Express comes in. Express enables us to do some backend development. Now, we have to set up our environment to develop in Express. Now, if you want to develop in Express, you need Node, and then you need to install Express, and then you need a browser and maybe a text editor of your choice. Now in this tutorial you will need to know at least some basic HTML. Probably we're not going to use much CSS here, but some basic HTML and some basic JavaScript. That's all you need to know for this course. Now we need to now download our node. So you go to nodejs.org/english/download, depending on the language you use, and then you install for your machine. Now in my case I'm using Windows and I already installed Node. Now after installing Node, what you do, we shall now open our command prompt. So you open your command prompt, or if you're on Linux or Mac OS X, open your terminal. Now after opening our command prompt, we change to our desktop. Now when I reach my desktop, I'm going to create a folder. Now the folder will be where I'm going to store my server or my server files. So now to create my folder, I will do mkdir, which is make directory. Mkdir, make directory. Now the directory I'm going to call it my server. Now after making my directory my server, what you can do now is I'm going to create a file in that folder of mine with the help of the text editor I would like. Now to create a new folder, to create a new file, you could do it in command prompt, but me, I would prefer to do it here on Sublime Text. So in Sublime Text, I'll go to projects, add folder to project, then I'll go to, since my folder is on my desktop, I'll go and look for my folder, which is my server, then I'll select that folder. Now in this folder, I'll have to create a new file. Now the new file in this folder, I'm going to save it and check it's on my server, and I'm going to call it server.js. So after creating my file server.js, you can see that my file is created, server.js. Now I can leave the file, I can go back to my command prompt. Now in my command prompt, I'm going to change my directory back to my server. Now when I'm in my server, let me clear. When I'm in my server, I am going to initialize npm. That's Node Package Manager. So I'm going to run npm init. Now after initializing, it will start to initialize my npm. Then it's going to ask for my package name. Now my package name, I'm going to leave it there to be my server. That will be my package name, meaning the name of the folder or the package I'm trying to create, which is a server. Now the version will be 1.0. The description I can just put in maybe my first. Server. Then the entry point should be my server.js. Now what does the entry point mean? The entry point means that this server will be accessed through server.js. That is, will be its entry point when requests are sent to my server. So all the requests will be sent to server.js. Now my test command, I will put nothing, git repository, nothing, keywords, nothing, author. You put my name. I'll put my name as Henry Joseph. I'll put my Slowcoco. Now license, I'll leave that license, the ISC license, and then everything will look okay. It will tell me to press yes and a key for yes, and I'll click the key, and then I've already initialized the npm. Now to check whether I've initialized the npm, I can come here, and then I can see that the npm has been my npm has been initialized. The name here, the version, the description, the main file or the entry point, and then the other things. Now after this, And after this, this is Windows, it is CLS. After this, I now need to install my Express. Now to install Express, I'll put npm install Express and I click enter. This will take some time to get installed. It's installing Express. So as you can see, I've already installed Express. So after installing Express, I can clear my command prompt. Now I will go back to my Sublime Text. Now here you can see that a new folder has appeared, Node Modules. And in the Node Modules, you will see there is Express here in the Node Modules. And if you also want to see whether your Express has been installed, you can go to package.json, and then you can see that there is a new object that has been created here, dependencies, and it has the Express version 4.18.2. So now we have created our Express server, but now we need to add some functionality into the Express server. Now to add some functionality, you can go to your server.js, and in server.js you create a variable, a constant variable. I'm going to call it the constant variable. I'm going to call it Express. Now in this constant variable, we are going to need to require Express. We need to bring the Express module into our server.js. So to do that, we type in require and then we put in Express. Now this Express which I've put inside here, this Express should match the name of the module, which is Express. Now after that I'm going to have to create my application. So I'm going to create application. Now excuse me, to create my application, and to create my application, I'll call const app, and in the app I am going to call the Express module, or the Express variable that I have created, Express. So then after that, I'm going to have to put a get request, meaning that if someone accesses, for example, if someone accesses but before that, let's first create the port on which we are going to listen. Now to create the port on which we are going to listen, I'll call my app.listen, and then after calling my app.listen, I'm going to try to listen at port 3000. So I will save it. Now after that, I'm going to have to start my application. Now let me put that here. Let me bring this here. Then let me reduce this a little bit. So let me reduce this here. So then enlarge it back here at this point. Now I'm going to need to start my server. Now to start my server, I'll run node. Now you need to be in the folder where the server.js is. So I'll run node server.js. It depends on whatever name you saved. You write node run. Now as you can see, the server is running, but it is blinking. I mean, it's not showing anything whether it's running or it has stopped. It looks like it has stopped, but the server is running. Now if I go to my browser, to access the server in my browser, I'm going to, you have to type localhost, then the localhost you're listening on port 3000. Now when you run, it said cannot get. Now what happened here is simple. The browser sent a get request, or it sent a request to our server, which is listening at port 3000. When it sent that request, there was no response from our server. There's nothing in our server about listening at listening at what? At the home directory, which is at port 3000. So the server did not reply. So we need to work on the reason why the server did not reply. But first, let's solve this problem. Nothing is showing here when you run the server. So to stop the server, you press Ctrl+C and the server will be stopped. Now for something to appear in the server, I'm going to have to write a callback function. Now if you are familiar with JavaScript, you know what a callback function is. Now console.log, I'm going to log what I will log is that the server has started. The server has started. Now when I save this and I come back here and then I run my node server.js, you can see that now the server has been shown on when I run my server. So this I can press Ctrl C to stop, Ctrl C to stop the server, Ctrl C, and the server has been stopped. Then I can CLS this. Now I misspelled server here. Let me delete that server. Then maybe I can put here ... Now our other problem which we had, which was when we access our website or access our server at port 3000, we are not seeing anything. That's because we don't have a GET request. Now we need to create a GET request. Now to create a GET request, we come here and we type app.get. Now this is how we create a GET request. Now the first argument in the GET function will be our route. Now our route is the point where we want to access the website from, but I will explain it further in deep down videos. But that we call the point where we want to access the server from. So I need the home route. So then again, the other argument that it takes is a function or a callback function. Now the callback function has two arguments also that it takes. It takes in the request argument, and then it takes also the response argument. And then I can now open my server. Now when a person comes here to the browser and accesses our home directory, which is just port 3000 / and accesses our home directory, we should do something. So what we should do, we should just call response.send. Now we are going to send something to the website. Now what we are going to send is hello world. So let's save. Now we should also start our server. To start our server, node, then the name of the server, which is server.js. Now the server has started. Now since the server has started, when I come here and I run, you can see that hello world has been sent. Now in this sending object, you may not only send text, you could also send HTML code. So for me to put HTML code, maybe I want to send h1. Let me use lowercase h1. I want to send a h1 tag of hello world, and I can close h1. Maybe put here an exclamation mark. Then I save. Now when I save, I need to first stop my server. Now you can see that this is tiresome, but later on I'll show you how to do this automatically. So I'll also CLS. Then I'm going to start my server, which is node server.js, and my server has now started. Since my server has started, I can now run my code, and you can see that now a h1 tag has been created. So this is a simple way of how you start up your development environment for Express.js, and how you can do some simple server. You can create some simple server. Now, thank you for watching. Meet you in the next video. Thank you.